Alright, guys. So you know the drill if you watched the last matchup chart, but in case you don't know, all of our matchup chart. So, just gonna go through all the different matchups and talk about, if they're good or bad for Olimar at the start of 2023, guys. This game's been out for 4 years, by the way. Isn't that crazy? My matchup charts have changed a lot since then. We do got 80 characters, so don't expect me to spend too much time on any individual character. Try to summarize some things. Consistent things you'll notice we talk about is just how bad is this advantage for Olimar. Neutral, is the neutral evenish, or does he just stomp the opponent? How will he deal with Pikmin? You'll see. But those are some of the key things to watch out for with Olimar, and if there's any special interactions with Pikmin, like reflecting them, hitting them, or whatever. So, starting off, easy matchups. Robin. So the thing with Robin is all of his projectiles are just too easily combo Pikmin toss. So he can't apply his main game plan. And then without that, he's not really a great character. Sure, his 11 sword stuff's good, but he has to approach, and he's a character makes others approach. And honestly, this matchup could just be +1, because he can blow up Olimar, everyone can. But I think Robin players should get a counter pick for the matchup. And now Puff. Puff is a character that really just can't get past Olimar's walling. He's too short, he has big disjoints with low lag, and Pikmin Toss she's good at killing Pikmin, but she's not really good at punishing Olimar for the Pikmin Toss. But the big thing is finally, you can whistle through a lot of her combos, like something in the rest. So that really hurts her ability to get a lot of damage when she gets in. So those are the easy matchups for Olimar. Next up, also I want to mention real quick, this is not ordered. So yeah, next we got Me Gunner. This is one of those characters where it's both characters kind of have to camp each other out. But Olimar generally wins heavy camp wars. And that's going to be a consistent theme, is that any matchup where neither character is good at approaching, Pikmin Toss residual damage plus blocking projectiles generally means he wins those interactions. Even in the matchups where it's the opponent might have higher damage projectiles or something, Pikmin Toss is so low lag, they don't have to commit much to it, leaving little openings for Olimar to get punished. And he can use Pikmin Toss to kind of approach as well. So, unlike a character like maybe Me Gunner, who isn't really good at forcing approaches with their projectiles, Olimar can camp and make these approaches happen and counter approaches. So he's a bit more of a well-rounded game plan. And of course, he's a really strong character up close. So in matchups like this, where he finally gets close and things like his jab, his aerials, down tilt, smash game, low size, oftentimes give him the edge versus more dedicated zoners. So a character like Me Gunner loses to Olimar just slightly for those reasons. Banjo's a character kind of similar, where it's Olimar just has better camp game, better close game. I also will say Olimar's down tilts are really good 2-frame tool in a lot of matchups, and this is one of them. So he can kind of consistently edgeguard Banjo. Bring up some more in a second. Bayo has trouble a lot in neutral. That's just, her weakness is her neutral generally. And Olimar really exploits that by staying so grounded, not giving her great chances to get, side B openings. She also can't combo Olimar super well because of Whistle. She has to be a little bit careful with that. I will say she evades a lot of Olimar combos with Frame 1 Bats Within. Frame 1 Bats Within. This water wasn't enough, apparently. But it's for the most part, she just has to deal with Pikmin pressure. She's going to take damage. She's going to have to make bad approaches. Luckily for her, Olimar's disadvantage is bad, so she has the opening. She can kill him. He's kind of easy to combo with certain things like up Bs, so it's hard for him to escape certain combos. And Wish Time's very annoying because she can Wish Time Pikmin on her as a bit of a mix-up for approaching. So that's kind of her main tool in the matchup, but it leaves her open to getting caught by Whistle into a punish. Bowser Jr. is just kind of a bad character. He's especially bad at approaching. He doesn't kill Pikmin well because of his attacks are all kind of too laggy. So he throws a ferret, you throw a Pikmin, he gets off hit lag in the ferret, you can punish him. So he really doesn't have any tools that are good for him in the matchup besides abusing Olimar's disadvantage, which literally every character does to a certain extent, I'd say. Byleth. So this character actually doesn't have a good answer for Pikmin Toss. Olimar's height is really annoying for Byleth, and Byleth is slow. I will say Byleth wins that mid-range game with their aerials pretty hard and theirs annoying to deal with. But it's despite that, the character has to like kind of get in Olimar's face with Nair, has to with Pikmin damage, and really is just gonna take a lot of free damage just for a chance to play the mix-up game with Olimar. And if Olimar player is good at punishing the Nairs especially, it's surprisingly hard for Byleth. So it's definitely his favor. Falcon. Falcon's a character that just doesn't have like any tools to get. Like, he's fast, but he's too committal with his approaches. And Olimar's a character that's very good at like baiting at committal approaches and punishing. Throw a Pikmin, see what the opponent does. Falcon plays into that perfectly. His combos get stopped by Whistle pretty hard. He's also really easy to get combos, so he's gonna take a lot of damage from Olimar stuff. And then Olimar doesn't have too much difficulty juggling him, ledge trapping him, and edge guarding him. Alright, Pits. Pits tend to be bad at approaching. They're also not particularly good characters up close. They like excel around like kind of a mid-range, like burst range, dash and nair area. And I think Olimar just excels better there. And if that Pit just kind of falls apart as a character, I think, when it comes to trading with someone like Olimar. Ooh, Diddy. So the big thing is, Pikmin Toss is a very good answer for Banana. Like, the Diddy has to kind of like throw bananas around the Pikmin a lot to get openings with the banana, or play without banana. Without banana, Diddy's not getting much damage. With banana, like, it's still hard to get those openings. And if Olimar has a banana in his hand, it's so hard for Diddy Kong. Pikmin Toss, throw banana is just like, it's basically hell for Diddy Kong. So, and the fact that Whistle, like always, good combo breaker on certain things, including like down tilt up smash, might even work if you whistle at the right time and drift away. So, Diddy can win it. You know, all these +1s, the big thing is, it's not like unwinnable for them. It's just they're taking, in this kind of matchup, Diddy's taking a lot of trades where he's not doing enough damage relative to Olimar's, and he has to rely on mobility and Olimar. That's not a word, but whatever. Now, DK. This matchup's scary for Olimar. Even though Olimar wins, it's scary because it's DK, where it hits once you die. Olimar being very slow means DK kind of gets a run up and dash attack. And a little funny mechanic in the matchup is the dash attack lingers on block and kills any Pikmin that isn't purple if Olimar is up smash at a shield. So Olimar's only punish for his dash attack is Nair at a shield if he doesn't have a purple that's fresh. Which means DK dash attack is a surprisingly annoying burst option. And the fact that Olimar's recovery is very subpar and DK's backer is a great edgeguard tool. And DK lives forever, and Olimar, even though Olimar does a lot of damage, he doesn't kill particularly well. He has kind of look for like stray hits to get kills. And a heavy character like DK can really exploit that and abuse rage. So those are all mechanics from in the matchup. But at the end of the day, he still has to commit to all these approaches. He's still going to be constantly getting chipped out at Pikmin, outrange Olimar's disjoints, and forced to like linear approaches due to Olimar's size. Doc. Doc's just too slow in the matchup. If he's up close, he beats Olimar. Sure, like he's ridiculous up close. But he has to get past Olimar's sword aerials, Pikmin Toss. Olimar's edgeguard game is good on him because he's so slow in the air. And that kind of seals the deal, I think. It's like Olimar can push the advantage very well versus him, especially with like purple Pikmin off stage. Force recovery, edgeguard affair. Alright. Duck Hunt. Kind of like the Banjo matchup where Olimar's camping game is just generally much better, or just as good, but then Olimar wins the close range, like spacing game, or like the mixed game. So Olimar's favor, just by being a better character pretty much. Falco. Falco's one of his characters where his neutral is already a weakness for him, and Olimar's neutral is like one of his biggest strengths. So you take those two together, and Olimar just shouldn't really lose neutral much. Honestly, this would be a -2 matchup if Reflector wasn't a thing, to make it so Olimar can't just spam Pikmin Toss. Like, I have to do, like, throw a Pikmin, bait a Reflector, run up dash grab to punish it consistently, or, like, run up fair and shield it. Run up shield and fair it. So, while it's not hard to do, it does mean Olimar has to kind of fight Falco a bit more than you otherwise expect. What else? Laser's a little bit annoying. However, up throw gets topped by Pikmin, which is really funny and very annoying for Falco. Falco's lingering forward is very good for edgeguarding Olimar. But it's like we're kind of like, we're looking for things he can use in the matchup at this point, when his overall kit neutral just is too weak. Ganon. So I actually don't like this matchup personally as Olimar, just because Ganon hits so hard. And it's like Olimar's so slow, he can't really run away from Ganondorf. But it's still Ganondorf, it's still Olimar. You know, Olimar does so much damage, Pikmin Toss, blah blah blah, it's Ganondorf. I will say, however, out of all of like Ganon's losing matchups, this is probably one of his better ones, because him like being able to keep up with Olimar and use all these very annoying burst options and kill him so early means Olimar really can't make mistakes. And if Gan gets like one like parry into like a down throw opening, that can be the end of Olimar's stock. Inkling. Inkling is just not really a great character. She's like mid tier. And characters like Olimar prove why, where she can't really approach that well. She can't do Pikmin well, and she can't really camp that well, right? Like, her only tool in the matchup that's particularly good is back air. And in 2023, a decent back air is not going to be enough in a matchup where you're just getting harassed by free damage constantly. And of course, purple is just lock her out of the game, like most characters. Isabelle. I mean, another zoner that gets kind of outzoned. She's pretty good up close, right? She can actually fight Olimar up close. But her being light means Olimar can actually trade with her, which is very uncommon to be like have relatively even like damage traits. And then, you know, she has the pocket for Pikmin toss. It leaves her too open. Like, she can pocket one Pikmin and get fared. So she can't afford that. And finally, like, Olimar still generally wins like that close mid-range games in terms of buttons, frame data. So he should just kind of be winning across the board in a lot of ways. Dedede. He can't deal with Pikmin toss. Just he can't. His attacks are all too laggy, so they're easy to punish. They're also going to leave him take a lot of free damage. His only decent attack for that is like Nair, maybe fair, but like, yeah. And the Pikmin toss also really easily deals with Gordos. Like, his main game plan's gone. But if he gets an opening, Olimar's ledge game is very bad. And Dedede has an extremely overwhelming like ledge game, right? So once Dedede gets Olimar the ledge, it kind of feels like a GG situation a lot of times for that stock. So that's the main thing keeping this matchup being -2. Alright, Cave Rule. Heavy, big, slow character. Not super slow, but heavy and big character. Lots of laggy attacks. So you can't kill Pikmin without committing to it. The Reflector is not the best option to deal with Pikmin toss because it's laggy once again. I will say Crown's annoying. Olimar is too slow to like run up and hit K. Rool for using Crown to break his armor. And then his Nair is also really obnoxious for Olimar because Olimar's out of shield game is awful. And characters that exploit that are annoying. With that said, I don't think those like do enough for a K. Rool matchup, considering K. Rool is just such combo food, pretty easy to edge guard, and really just, if you watch my tier list, you know K. Rool is an okay character, but he has enough weaknesses. Alright, Kirby. So the thing about this matchup is if Kirby didn't have the ability to inhale Olimar and get his neutral B as his own, and like throw Pikmin non-stop at Olimar, this would be an off matchup for Kirby. Too slow. Gets outranged. Olimar's frame data being insane means he can fight Kirby up close. And then Kirby is just so light that Olimar actually will just kill super easily, right? Both characters kill each other well. Finally, Kirby doesn't have the best tools to edgeguard Olimar because Kirby's so slow in the air. As a result, Kirby just has to like make good reads with like parries and like dash attacks to get in. And at that point, you're playing a guessing game a lot, and that's never reliable. Mac. Olimar's ground control king, right? You're on the ground with Olimar, he's throwing forward smashes, Pikmin toss, pivot grabs, down tilts, whatever, and you can't jump. Alright, no. Granted, you know, Lilimac's fast, Olimar's slow, so Olimar's forced to wall out Lilimac, giving Lilimac potential openings by baiting things out. But Lilimac's lack of aerial game means he can't even get in to take advantage of these openings well enough. Alright. Lucas is in this category of like Banjo and Duck Hunt, where it's just, he kind of just, his game plan is like a worse version of Olimar's game plan overall. I will say Lucas's air mobility being really good is a nice little benefit from the matchup to like play the air-to-air game very well, but otherwise he just gets outclassed. Alright, Luigi. Luigi, kind of like Lilimac, where it's just like Luigi's too grounded to deal with Olimar. I will say his Zair and his Fireball have good projectiles versus Olimar. They can like kind of cut through Pikmin and keep him safe. And Olimar Whistle doesn't really help for his Luigi combos. Or it's like, it's not helpful enough that Luigi knows the Olimar routes. So that's pretty good for him. Dash attack is really annoying. It can deal with Pikmin, blow up Olimar for just careless jumping and pressure. So he has those things going for him. Also, Olimar combos aren't the best versus down B, so he has to be a little bit careful with pushing damage. But these are the little things where the overall neutral is rough. The fact that if both characters jump, Olimar has more range. And finally, Luigi has to approach, and he's going to take a lot of damage while approaching. Marth. The big thing is, I think it's too hard to space Tippers versus Olimar's small size. It's doable, but not consistently. So Marth is going to get too many sour spots on Olimar. And otherwise, he should be fine in the matchup. He has about the same range as Olimar, a bit more mobile. It's actually rare for Olimar to fight Marcina like head on, I'd say, because of their range of mobility. Even though the damage output isn't great, so Olimar can force trades more. These games can be longer, and generally longer games favor Olimar because of Pigmentoss damage. And Marcina can edgeguard him pretty well by calling out his recovery, but they're still forced to fight their Pikmin. They're still gonna take a lot of damage. They're still gonna have to commit and overextend, and not having that consistent damage when you get in is why Marth loses while Lucina goes even. Alright, Game Watch. I don't like this matchup personally. Game Watch Bucket's very annoying. But outside of that, I think Olimar... One big thing is Game Watch is so light. And what happens in matchups like this where the opponent's very light is Pigmentoss damage is very relevant. But if you have a matchup like DK or Ganondorf, a heavy character doesn't care much about Pigmentoss damage. So, like, you can do like 30 with Pigmentoss versus Game Watch, and it's like that's a third of their sock. Versus DK, that's like a fifth. So this is one of the matchups where just Pigmentoss damage is such a big deal. The fact you can use Pigmentoss to bait up Bucket, because Game Watch doesn't have the best burst options, right? He can jump at you, but like his jump ins are kind of easy to wall out. If he plays grounded with dash attack, it's annoying, but if you block it, you should get a big punish. I say should because sometimes it has the DK effect where it lingers too long and it kills Pikmin. But if that doesn't happen, Olimar tends to just wall him out. Olimar is small, and he has like a lot of up B mix-ups to get off the ledge versus Chef. And finally, he can just punch through like fairs, get underneath back airs. And Olimar's not a character that's generally about pushing advantage state anyway. So a character like Game Watch, where one of their bigger selling points is their recovery and ledge and landing game all being pretty good. Like, Olimar doesn't care that much about it. He cares about the neutral control over and over, and how much damage he gets off simple interactions. With that said, I think I'm not good at this matchup. Alright, Mega Man. Now, this character is actually really good, right? But Olimar still wins that, like, mid-range, like, camp game. They have very similar range in their aerials, actually. But Olimar can put out a little bit more damage overall with his stuff. He can also, like, two-frame Mega Man's up B with down tilt, which is very nice, downer, so you can get edge guards going. And Mega Man, it's like Mega Man can't really get in versus Olimar and, like, apply his pressure game. But Olimar can use purples again versus Mega Man. So he has the ability to out-camp Mega Man or get in, where Mega Man is kind of forced to play a camping game or call out Olimar's approaches. So just a little bit worse there. It's honestly almost an evenish matchup, but I think Olimar barely edges this out, mostly due to his damage output. Alright. Ness can't really deal with Olimar's aerials though. Like, he can move around them. And he can definitely move around like Olimar jumping, because Olimar's super slow, and like get aerials, get PK fires in. Like, Olimar has to play grounded versus Ness, which makes him a little bit predictable. And it's hard to get kills in Ness if the Ness wants to abuse his aim ability. With that said, Ness's big strength is his ability to not interact with Olimar, and not necessarily his ability to get in and hit Olimar. So, Olimar should just be winning by the virtue of like these big, safe hitboxes that Ness has to respect, which means he gets to slow the game down and get all this free damage on Ness. Also, Pigmentoss is very annoying for Ness when he's recovering. It can stop up B from working, purple can snipe his recovery angles anyway, and down tilt is good to catch his air dodge the ledge. Alright, Pichu. I would say Pichu gets in, he will murder Olimar. Actually, like, he has no problem murdering Olimar or any other character when he gets in. The problem is getting it without taking too much damage, especially because of electric Pikmin, yellow Pikmin, which have electric properties, which Pichu doesn't kill too well. And so a lot of characters get the combos messed up by Pigmentoss. I should mention this, that like Olimar is not easy to combo due to whistle and that. And very combo heavy characters like Pichu especially really don't like Pikmin messing up their combo game. So, and the fact he lacks range, he's light, yada yada, and he's just, he can't really fight Olimar in like fair trades, and he's gonna get hit a lot just trying to approach, or take a lot of damage trying to find openings to approach. And the Pikachu similar, no self damage of course, a little bit heavier, but the main thing Pichu has, his massive airspeed means Olimar has to like deal with the jump-ins. Pikachu's very slow airspeed, means Olimar can just kind of back off for his jump-ins and like keep Pikachu out for free. So that's a big deal. Otherwise, Pigmentoss is annoying for him, yellow Pikmin especially. Easy to down to 2 from the recovery. Pikachu's lightweight, so Olimar's very good there. You notice Olimar is very good versus lighter weight characters generally, in my opinion. So yeah, Piranha Plant. This is one of those situations where Piranha Plant actually could win the matchup if he wasn't a bad character. Poison Cloud actually blocks Pikmin Toss and even blocks Smashes, so that's very annoying. The problem is, outside of that, he doesn't have much going for him in the matchup. And if Olimar knows, like, Piranha's gonna use the Poison Cloud, just run up and hit him with, like, jabs, down tilts, grabs, aerials, and just also outcamp him. Like, it's really hard for Plant to just beat good characters. He's not good. PT. So Squirtle has issues Pikachu has in the matchup. So that's a Raven matchup for Squirtle. Ivysaur is actually pretty good versus Olimar. Olimar has to kind of deal with Razor Leaf with like purple Pikmin Toss or forward smash or blocking and holding the mix up, which he doesn't like. And it's not always easy to have the Pikmin out for that. But like, it's still doable. You still kind of fight Ivysaur his range. Pikmin is just so annoying for Ivysaur to deal with because Ivysaur has to approach that. So like that part of the matchup's even. And then Charizard's like, he's fast. He can burst you down. It's very scary to fight him when you're like at 80 as Olimar. But it's still Charizard at the end of the day. So really Olimar like beats Squirtle kind of hard. Slightly beats Ivysaur. Should slightly beat Charizard, but I don't think that's scary. So overall Olimar should win. With that said, it's like one of the less like +1 matchups for him in my opinion. Ridley. Ridley is actually pretty annoying for Olimar in a lot of ways, but the problem is he's never avoiding Pikmin damage, which is also making his attacks laggier. Also making him easier to combo, because also another thing about Olimar, Pikmin on the opponent adds more hit stun to attacks. It's like weird, hard to explain. But basically, the more Pikmin on the opponent equals bigger combos. So Ridley will not deal with Pikmin easily. He will get hit and take a lot of damage. And sure, if he hits Olimar, he locks you out of the game. But Ridley, like a lot of these characters here, has to commit to the approach, where Olimar just kind of keeps them out and then does a lot of damage to punish these approaches. But I will say Ridley, with his speed and burst options, forces Olimar in the guessing games more often than you'd think. So this is more of an evenish matchup than you'd expect, relative to like his other winning matchups. Alright, Samus. Remember Robin, like his main tool gets countered by Pikmin Toss? Same thing with Samus. Charge Shot just gets eaten by Pikmin Toss. Samus players hate this matchup. The only reason I don't think it's +2 for Olimar is Samus is super heavy and does good damage. So it's like, you'll get this free damage. You'll win neutral. You'll anti-air, whatever. But she'll live like 150 and sometimes kill you like 70 with like some sort of ledge trap or like a back air. Or like forward air off stage because Olimar is too slow to avoid that super well. And like constantly the fact that Samus is heavy and doesn't have too much trouble killing and Olimar struggles killing really like leaves him open to be cheesed in otherwise an easy matchup. Sheik. So this is almost +2 for Olimar, but like it's kind of like Ness where she can play around Olimar's ranges very well and just whiff punish. Except Sheik's a little bit better at that due to her really good ground mobility and air mobility. And so it's like it's hard to really lock her down, get free, and also Pikmin Toss is actually not that great for her because of her mobility. So you have to fight her a lot more with just like mid-range smashes, aerials, whatever, which gives her openings to punish. It's still very hard for her. She still doesn't kill Pikmin well. She still doesn't trade with Olimar well. Can't even combo him that well. But she can play hit and run very well versus him. And if she gets a lead, it's especially annoying. Alright. Snake Grenade versus Olimar Pikmin. Olimar Pikmin wins. That's a big thing. And then finally, as a result, Snake is forced to fight a lot more with CQC. And while it's not bad, Olimar is also really good in like close range, like mix-up interactions. So I just think Snake kind of gets outclassed in those spots. Finally, Olimar doesn't have too much difficulty edgeguarding Snake. Or juggling him or anything, really. I will say it's kind of like Samus, where the Smash would be +2 for Olimar if Snake wasn't just so heavy and hitting so hard. Alright, Toon Link. Toon Link honestly can kind of deal with Olimar's zoning by like maneuvering around it with his natural mobility. So that's pretty evenish there. But Toon Link's lack of damage output versus Olimar really hurts. Alright, Villager. Villager can't like approach well. Lord Rocket gets killed by Side B. So that's rough. Luckily, Villager can edgeguard Olimar very well if he gets the opening. And he's small and has like decent dash-out options with Nair, so it's like hard to pressure him super easily or hit him in general. Pocket also can be annoying versus like purples and whites, but it's mostly just Olimar favor. Wario. Wario's only thing in the matchup is if he hits Olimar, it's bad. Right? He can edge guard easily. He can juggle. Ledge trapping's fine for him. And then, of course, Waft is just the great equalizer. Otherwise, Olimar's aerials and shit, like, do keep Wario out. They do a lot of damage. Wario does not kill Pikmin well. All this stuff. But I think Wario is unable to, like, consistently get in. Especially without taking free Pikmin damage. So he's forced to get things going when he gets in. And being... Like, he's not necessarily putting a timer because he has Waft. And if he's at kill percent, he can camp for it. But at the same time, Olimar is not exactly pressured to make things happen versus Wario when he has all those neutral advantages and free damage coming his way. Wii Fit hates short characters. Olimar is a short character. You do the math there, add Pikmin Toss being a great answer for Sun Salutation and Side B, and you just have, I don't say one of Wii Fit's worst matchups. Olimar's poor mobility can really hurt versus ability to kind of like deep breathing, jump in, get an air, and get really high damage in early kills. What I will say though is that's like the only thing she has going for her, is that she can cheese Olimar out pretty hard and abuse the fact that he's super slow by making him guess a bit more than he wants. Alright, Young Link. Young Link, Olimar is weird because Young Link actually ended up projectiles Olimar with fire arrows, but then Red Pikmin cut through fire arrows and hit Young Link, and then he only has to deal with that, and that's Olimar's opening. And Purple's annoying. Whites can go over that from far ranges. Olimar whistles sometimes works for his combo, sometimes doesn't. Depends on the combo. It's very unreliable and can be baited out. I think the main thing though is that from the Young Link's perspective, like his projectile game is like inconsistent. Like it's matched by Olimar. His combo game doesn't always work. And then in terms of raw normals, Olimar just wins. So Young Link's relying on his ground mobility, but Olimar controls the ground very well and doesn't care much about Young Link jumping. So it's pretty Olimar's favor. It doesn't feel like easy winning for him, but it feels like Young Link is kind of put out of his comfort zone a lot. Finally, Zero Suit. She's just can't hit short characters well. So Olimar like locking down a lot of her approaches just by nature of being short, but then also being built to force approaches. It just hurts her too much. And then she can't really like, she doesn't have really good advantages in the matchup, honestly. It's not +2 because she's mobile. If she gets a lead, it's rough. If she puts Olimar at disadvantage, it can be rough. But it's like when matchup comes down to, hey, my advantage state's good versus Olimar, that's almost like a given as the character. So not a big deal. Next up, we got evens. So to get through them, Bowser. The big thing about Bowser is he's so fast and has a bit of disjoint on attacks. So it's like unlike other heavyweights that don't have disjoints where Olimar tends to win those neutral interactions, Olimar has to play around Bowser's range a lot more. And Olimar just dies early, of course. Luckily, Olimar's combo game and the fact that Bowser doesn't deal with Pikmin well, purples especially are annoying. And Olimar has disjoints everywhere. Bowser's disjoints are more like his tilts for like advantage state and like fair for neutral. So you can still kind of maneuver around them and finally exploit the fact that he's a lot of attacks that are kind of laggy. So Olimar's gonna get like a lot of free chances to punish him, and Bowser kind of has to make it a reason in the opening. With that said, his raw speed everywhere and this bit of range and neutral B and up B as shield all lets him deal with like Olimar's like mid-range and pressure very well. And just first approaches. Orin. I consider this being winning for Olimar because Pikmin Toss is hard for her to deal with. But I think at the end of the day, Nair like kills Pikmin well enough and pressures Olimar kind of freely. So Olimar is going to constantly be under like Nair fair pressure. With that said, like he can kind of back out of that situation, throw in Pikmin, and force Corrin to approach. So it ends up being a lot of these games where it's like, Corrin is close to you. How does that mix-up go? Alright, back to get free damage. Alright, Corrin's close to you. And it kind of sounds like Olimar's favor, and it could be. So I'm actually gonna... But I think killing her is hard too because of her aerials especially, and that's kind of the main thing keeping it even. Peach Daisy. This matchup used to be bad for Olimar, but I think as Olimar players got better at our anti-airs, it became harder for Peach Daisy. It's still not winning for us by any means, but like she's forced to fight into tower with disjoints. We deal turnips very well, and us being short really messes with her like float aerial game, I'd say. With that said, she's still able to use her float to really outmaneuver Olimar, bait him out, punish. Her combo game destroys Olimar even with Whistle. so Olimar doesn't have like a good combo escape. She kills Pikmin very safely with back air, so it's hard to get like, free damage. You're mostly using Pikmin Toss to get purples and whites. And as a result, it's fine, but you can't like cheese her out with just Pikmin Toss to win. Alright, Greninja. Honestly, if Greninja didn't have counter, this would be Olimar's favor. But his counter like is Riggy vs Pikmin because it gives him basically a completely safe hitbox coming out that can kill and lead to advantage state and stuff, versus Pikmin Toss Slash. So that's annoying. You have to respect that a lot. But otherwise, Greninja lacks great pressure tools in neutral. His approaches are linear. His camping game is not good. And he's just lucky he's fast and Olimar's slow, really. And Olimar can't really answer like spaced farewell. Even like space dash attack down to all pretty safe because Olimar's actual game's poor. So you can't exploit like Greninja's inability to like pressure shields particularly well. But Olimar can exploit Greninja's lack of like out shield options. He's combo food, easy enough to edge guard, and still gets outranged. Icy. This might be a controversial take, but I think a lot of times what happens in this matchup is that Pikmin Toss hits one Ice Climber, right? Not two. So you're only really messing with one of them at a time, which is annoying. Side B is a really annoying burst option to deal with. You have to like respect it hard, which means Icy's gets a lot of openings to get in. Blizzard's actually hard for Olimar to deal with. It kind of covers that ground space very well from any Pikmin-based attacks. And if Olimar jumps, he's too slow to really punish it. So that's all annoying. With that said, purples are obnoxious. Olimar's hitboxes are still hard for Icy's to directly challenge, outside of using very like slow linear blizzards. And I think you can whistle. I don't think you can whistle a lot of this stuff. I just think they're bad at approaching. So it ends up being pretty even. I could see it going either way, to be honest, winning or losing. Alright, Ike. Ike just, it's kind of like Corrin, where Ike's just like natural like sword swinging moves are all big and pretty safe. So you're going to force him to approach, you're going to play like that mix-up game up close, and then you get back off, get free Pikmin damage, and restart it. And then you want to kill him, and especially if he's platform camping Olimar, it's so hard to kill him. So you end up like having games where it's like, oh, he's at 180, and then I'm dead at 80 because I couldn't get a killing up air or something. I could see it being Olimar's favor, because otherwise he should just win due to being a better character, but that specific thing's annoying. Alright, Olimar destroy Lucario in every way, but Olimar is not great at killing. He gets a lot of damage, so Lucario's gonna have a lot of aura while playing, meaning Lucario's gonna get a chance to cheese out Olimar really hard, and otherwise losing matchup. So it ends up being even, but like I could see like all these matchups so far pretty much, like a lot of these matchups being Olimar's favor. You know what I'm gonna do actually? I didn't do this for Rosa, because I think with her it's like, a lot of matchups are more like, straightforward like winning or even. But I think with Olimar, he actually has a lot of these like, very slightly winning matchups if played optimally. Alright, talked about Lucina before, still even, Meta Knight. The big thing is, he has so many burst options that really blows up Olimar's ability to just kind of play super campy. And then Olimar being light and floaty means he gets cheesed by Meta Knight combos really hard, which doesn't even save him a lot of times. So that's kind of rough. And honestly, if Meta Knight is able to like move around the opponent, find burst openings, and combo, that's a solid matchup for him. With that said, he still has to like find these openings, and Olimar is not an easy character to find these openings on. And of course, Meta Knight can't challenge Olimar's hitboxes or anything, so that's rough. Alright, Mewtwo. This would be Olimar's favor if Mewtwo's Reflector was so good. It's just such a really safe, reliable way to deal with Pikmin Toss. So Olimar's forced to fight Mewtwo at more close mid-range, which it's like a pretty evenish battle there, maybe slight Mewtwo favor because of his speed. So like run up Nair, dash attack, all burst Olimar down pretty hard. And also Mewtwo can always cheese out Olimar with like side B if they expect a smash attack. Even like side being a white or purple can be devastating. And the fact that since Mewtwo's so fast, Olimar can't hit Mewtwo particularly well. And it ends up being a classic battle of kind of power and range versus mobility. And I just think Reflector makes it even instead of Olimar's favor. Alright, Misordi. So Misordi is one of the few characters that is very heavy on camping, that actually deals with Olimar's camping very well. Nato is very annoying to deal with, his Reflector is annoying to deal with. His sword arrows aren't great, but they're kind of annoying for Olimar to get past if he wants to get more damage. So it's definitely not losing for Olimar, but it's really obnoxious and like almost a timeout matchup. And a lot of times whoever gets even the slightest lead is gonna win, because it's really hard for Olimar to approach Misori when Misori kills Pikmin so safely. But it's hard for Misori to approach Olimar because it's Misori. Alright, Pac-Man. I honestly need to play this matchup more because I see Shuton just beat T and I'm like, damn, he makes T want to go Kazuya. But then I'm bad in the matchup. I will say Pikmin like go through Hydrant. You can break Hydrant very easily with Olimar and very safely. And then finally, you just outrange Pac-Man's like normals. With that said, Pac-Man has no problem kind of jumping off stage, naring Pikmin away, and then like charging Fruit, and then having Galagas and Bellas constantly neutral. So you can have a battle a lot of times of like, yeah, you deal with Pac-Man shit easily and fight him in neutral easily, but he has Galaga and Bell and Key. And those are all really strong neutral tools. So, yeah, this ebb and flow of Olimar strong with purple. So, no, Pac-Man's stronger now. Olimar's strong. And I think that back and forth nature makes the matchup pretty even. I think this has been looping the entire time. Probably not. Such a good album. Palutena. So, this matchup's surprisingly even. You would think that like Olimar just win? I don't know. It's evenish because both characters are very strong with each other. Olimar forces approaches and has short, so Palutena has trouble approaching. But Palutena is more of an advantage state monster than a neutral monster. And Olimar's disadvantage state, just he gets blown up really hard by up airs and nairs, ledge trapping. So it's like a constant thing of like, Palutena isn't great at neutral. Oh, she got in and killed Olimar. Oh, she back aired through a Pikmin and hit me. Oh, but I bait out dash attack and up smashed her. Oh, I'm down tilting her in the corner with punishing her and catching her on the ground. Oh, she's using neutral B and I'm not respecting it. Oh, I got side beat once. And it's actually a very fun matchup that's very stressful for both sides. Okay, so Rosa. I used to think this was Rosa's favorite, but when I played Myron last time, I was like, wait, he got good at the matchup. The thing is, Rosa is very ground-based, and Olimar is fine with that. But he's not fine with Rosa jumping around a lot and just like kind of air camping. But it's hard for Rosa to open the opponent up with the air camping. Like, it's annoying, but it's not going to give Rosa free openings. And in the meantime, Olimar's going to throw more Pikmin, get more purples and whites and be a problem. But then you can gravity pull, Pikmin toss, smashes, and Olimar's disadvantage is really bad versus Rosa. She like destroys floaties in disadvantage. So it's weird. It's a very weird matchup. It can also be very like one side gets lead and that's just it. So it ends up being a pretty volatile even. Alright, Roy. Sure, Roy can burst Olimar down and mash on him, but he can't mash too hard on Olimar. Olimar's like up close game with jabs, down tilts, aerials. It's actually really good versus Roy. And then of course Pikmin Toss is just obnoxious for a character like Roy. Olimar can edge guard him, juggle him, even ledge trap him, and kind of like fight him well enough. The main problem is Olimar doesn't have the cheese factor Roy does. Like, Roy will kill Olimar early, and Roy's stuff is very safe in Olimar's block, but Olimar can't quite safely punish Roy's block if Roy's using up B well. And also, Roy being so fast means Olimar doesn't get to just throw Pikmin freely. He has to throw them sparingly and bait out approaches. So you're playing more of a mix-up game as opposed to free damage game with Pikmin Toss. I could honestly see it being Olimar's favor, to be honest, but it's just so scary that I lean towards even. Speaking of scary, Sephiroth. So without wing, I'm just gonna say right now, Olimar destroys Sephiroth. Easy, easy. And Sephiroth being so big means Olimar actually can kill with Sephiroth like purple aerials much more reliably than you'd expect Olimar to be able to. So that's a big deal in the matchup, to keep him from getting wing. With that said, if Sephiroth wants to basically air camp, throw some forward airs, camp the wall and stuff, and kind of take Pikmin damage for free, almost, like play a very slow, meticulous camping game, Olimar can't punish that too well. He has to kind of just hold that L and let Sephiroth take the damage to get win. And when Sephiroth has wing, well, it's Sephiroth the wing, right? Fast, hits hard, shield breaks, hard to kill, multiple jumps. So I could honestly see it being Sephiroth's favor, but I lean towards it being even, because I think all these things are good defensively, but not good for getting openings. Sora. So the main thing about this matchup that makes this Olimar doesn't win despite being a campy, like, projectile heavy character for Sora is Sora can actually nair and fair on the Pikmin to bounce off them and kind of use that to, like, jump over to Olimar. It's really weird, really annoying. Add to that his big aerials that linger, and you have to, like, be very careful with Olimar about challenging his stuff. So he has a good answer for Pikmin Toss that also lets him get close to Olimar. With that said, he's still having to get close to Olimar. He's still going to be jumping a lot versus Olimar, and Olimar does have these big aerials. And Olimar also isn't the worst of, like, down airing his up B or something. Also, things like Yellow Pikmin going through Thanaga, Red through Fire, is really nice in these, like, projectile war interactions to make sure Olimar comes out on top. Alright, finally, Yoshi. Yoshi is really annoying to hit, but that's, like, his main thing. He's annoying to hit. Olimar has disjoints, frame data, hits hard, Pikmin Toss, all this stuff. It's just sometimes you don't get that, and sometimes Yoshi hits you with up tilt up airs, and your whistles won't save you, or you try whistling when he down airs and you die super early. So it's like, just because Yoshi's so mobile, he will get these openings. His shield pressure is pretty safe, and Nair shield stops a lot of Olimar's otherwise pretty reliable pressure. You can't, like, overextend pressure versus Yoshi. And yeah, also Pikmin Toss is very good versus eggs. So it's like slight Olimar favor. It's one of those, like, matchups that's Olimar's favor probably, but it's a little bit scary for him. Oh, since I made this tier, I'm trying to think if there's anything here I should bump down to this tier. Like this, probably. I really like Olimar versus heavyweights, to be honest. They never feel like good matchups. Yeah, putting Gandalf here is probably so weird sounding, but trust. Trust that I'm very bad in the matchup, actually. Nah, I'll do that. I'll keep everything it was before. Anyway, moving on. So, matchups that are hard but winnable, right? So, I think with Olimar, a lot of his losing matchups, like, are going to sound worse than they are. Because the thing about Olimar is, his damage output being so absurd, off, like, random interactions, and his ability to randomly either kill you at, like, 80 or not kill to 150, makes him a bit of a high roll character, right? High roll and low roll. So, a lot of these matchups are, the neutral's going to be kind of rough for whatever reason, but Olimar can still, like, get a good opening and murder stocks through his combos, even sometimes through his ledge trapping, through his juggling sometimes, through his edge guarding, because his edge guarding, I didn't touch on it much, because you're not, like, fishing for it, but, like, runoff fair is good in some matchups, like versus Belmonts or Min. And then, like, his up air you can't challenge. Down tilt, forward smash, down smash to the ledge is all pretty good there. So, where these previous tiers were like, hey, let's talk about his neutral, this one is like, what can he do when he wins a generally harder neutral? But the trick is a lot of times these neutrals are kind of rough for him. So starting off, we got Belmonts. Basically, Belmonts just have so much range. And this is a matchup Olimar's forced to approach in. Matchups he's forced to approach in tend not to be his best. I will say, he's very good at, like, throwing Pikmin and forcing Belmonts to deal with Pikmin Toss so he can get in. And that's really nice. But the final nail in the coffin is that Holy Water ledge trapping is really bad. Really bad for him. But at least you can, like, zero death him due to his easy to combo status and poor recovery. He actually did that versus Melly, like, not long ago at a local. Did twice in one game. And then Min-Min's kind of similar, more range. Her mobility especially is very annoying. It's not fast, but it's fast enough. And then her grab game really punishes Olimar for trying to shield a lot of her pressure and find openings to Pikmin Toss between the arm pressure. With that said, Min doesn't kill Pikmin particularly well. She has to commit to grounded moves that are a little bit laggy, or like nairs, which are also a little bit laggy. And her arms get stuck on Pikmin, so she's forced to, like, respect Pikmin Toss and deal with that a lot, giving Olimar a lot of chances to use Pikmin to open up approaches. With that said, It's like Olimar has to really find these openings, and if he messes up, he's getting hit by one of Mimin's many walling tools. So she's gonna rinse repeat her walling over and over, and probably win if Olimar's not making consistently good reads. Alright, Chrom. The reason that Chrom wins but Roy loses is mostly that Olimar can't exploit Chrom's recovery. Like, he can kind of versus Roy, but he's not great versus Roy at doing that. With Chrom, though, it's like he can't challenge the up B, really. Nor is he like able to jump over and spike the up B. So a lot of times Chrom just kind of gets to play like his game of, consistent hitboxes across the board with lots of range, mobility, pressure, and then hit him off stage, and you're actually not just killing him like most characters can. So, otherwise the matchup's very much like Roy, just a little bit harder in neutral. But, actually quite a bit harder in neutral, not even a little bit harder in neutral. Because the Roy sour spots means Olimar can't with Roy sour spots you can trade with Roy there. With Chrom's you can't trade. He's always coming Pikmin more reliably. And that hurts a lot. Alright, Fox. So, main thing about Fox is you can't fight him on your terms. He's too fast. He's gonna run around. He's gonna jump at you and do safe pressure Olimar's not meant to deal with. Reflect is a little cherry on top to deal with Pikmin Toss. His combos and Vortex versus Olimar is really annoying. The only thing Olimar has is that, in terms of raw up-close buttons, Olimar's really good versus Fox if you can, lock him down and, start jabbing him. Or just gently pressing buttons near Fox. Fox is also very easy to combo, very easy to edge guard, of course. And then, despite being able to move around Pikmin Toss and have Reflector, it doesn't let him deal with Pikmin Toss that well. Pikmin on Fox is annoying for him. Purple blocking his path is really annoying. And he can't challenge Olimar's attacks head on, he has to move around them. So, Olimar can use that to his advantage. But he's gonna eventually get opened up just because Fox is so fast. So it's up to Olimar to win the game off a lot of good interactions and really good punishes. Whereas Fox just has to avoid getting blown up by random up smashes or whatever. Alright, versus Hero, one word, bounce. Otherwise, Olimar would win the matchup. Straight up. Olimar wins the camping game, has the range to deal with the sword, Hero has more sword range. Pikmin is just so good versus swordies anyway. If they're a little bit slower. Olimar does, it's Olimar, right? But bounce is just a problem. Bounce in general buffs, although Oomph kind of gives Olimar a lot of hit lag to punish. Here it's a Pikmin with Oomph. Same with Psych Up, and Psych Up gets stopped, the charge gets burned on Pikmin. Accelerato's annoying, but whatever. It's really just bounce. With that said, he's not always getting bounce, and his poor frame data and lack of mobility means Olimar is actually able to throw Pikmin and kind of rush Hero down. It's one of the very few matchups I think, aggressive rush on Olimar is really good. And some games versus Hero, he's not going to get many bounces as a result, and it's going to feel great. But the games he gets, bounce into bounce into bounce, it's going to feel awful. Alright, Incineroar is probably a weird one. And the reason is his counter is really good versus Pikmin latch, and it stacks. So you can't really throw Pikmin on him that easily. You can do Pikmin Toss, run up, be able to counter and grab if you time it well. That's super committal, and you don't want to commit to that versus a character like Incineroar who's crazy up close. So that's a problem. Incineroar's attacks are kind of hard to punish, actually. Since Olimar's so slow, and they all linger, they can punch through Pikmin, they have decent amount of range, not decent frame data. Without counter, Olimar would win the matchup for sure. But just add to the fact that Incineroar is a smaller, heavier character. Smaller character, it's very heavy. Hits hard, kills. It ends up kind of pushing it over the edge to Incineroar's favor. Which I know is kind of weird for a lot of people to hear. But yeah, it's not what I like. Alright, Joker. This matchup's really annoying. Just because Joker's such a good character. I think it's probably even, honestly. It's Joker being such a good character is very obnoxious. But the fact that Pikmin damage both, gives Arsene, but also takes it away, means Joker is going to be on a timer with Arsene. Down tilt is great for edge guarding him. And generally, Joker, he's not great at approaching even with Arsene. Olimar stops the approaches. And what happens a lot of times is either Joker gets an opening with Arsene and kills Olimar, or he can't find that opening. He gets hit like once or twice by Olimar, he gets Pikmin damage, he loses Arsene. And unless he gets a second one in this stock, which he can by countering Pikmin and just living long, like he's gonna be struggling there. Both to say he's fast, his dash attack is such an annoying burst option. Like if Olimar jumps poorly, he will get dash attacked. Olimar's too slow to escape like back air edge guards, up air juggles, whatever. And they just have a great answer to side B and gun if he's like looking for a kill or something before Joker gets Arsene. So that's all pretty annoying. Ends up being a kind of evenish matchup. If anything, it's Joker's favor, but it kind of sounds like even when I talk about it and stuff. Alright. All the FGC characters are here next to each other. They all share one common thing, and that is just they're all so good versus Olimar close, with attacks that kill Pikmin very easily, or they have options to burst this down. Like Terry bursts Olimar down very easily, can't throw Pikmin poorly. Ryu's probably the worst versus Olimar, but he can just kind of punch through Pikmin like really easily, and when he's up close we die. Pen's faster, when he's up close we just get pressured and die. We don't have an actual game that can handle him. Kazuya reflects Pikmin. Whistle can stop his combo sometimes, but we just die when he hits us. Actually, electricing through like aerials and Pikmin toss is really obnoxious. And then Olimar isn't great at pushing the edge guards versus any of these characters for just their recovery angles, hitboxes, whatever. Hard for them to deal with. So, despite all their variations, it's all the same shit for Olimar. And auto turnaround is really annoying versus Olimar doing things like cross up nair, dash attack, back air, whatever pressure. Like, he can only pressure people a lot with cross ups, and FGC characters say, nope. Alright, Link. There just isn't a good answer for Link Nair. That's all it is. Link Nair is just too safe, too big, lingers too long, kills Pikmin, can lead to combos. Add to that, Link's aerials being bigger than Olimar's. It means Olimar can't like play the air to air game too well, and finally bomb lead shopping really screws with Olimar. So it's like one of these characters that he's just been Olimar's shoot since day one, and it's gotten a little bit better as Olimar players have gotten better, but at the end of the day we're still just dealing with neutral air, like forcing a lot of our counterplay out, which Link can then counterplay pretty easily. Alright, Mario. Mario is so good at weaving around Pikmin, and he's so good at sticking to Olimar. This is actually something else I should mention with FGC characters, is they can stick to Olimar very well. And Mario does the same. He gets close, and he stays on top of Olimar. He doesn't get reset, he doesn't get like whistled out combos generally. And then, as a result, Olimar gets hit once and doesn't play the game anymore. Cape is also really annoying, because it forces constant respect. Oh. Do scan, place is over. So good. But yeah, Whistle. Cape forces constant respect. Up BI shield just deals with a lot of like otherwise decent Olimar pressure. And yeah, it's just too hard to escape him once he gets in. Also, Fireball comes out at an angle it's hard to deal with when you add Mario's mobility on top of that. Alright, Mii Fighter. Honestly, Mii Fighter's main thing is very similar to Fox in a lot of ways, but in exchange for not quite being as good at like pressuring shield and just comboing a neutral, actually that's just a combo, just pressuring shield, Mii Brawler gets a lot of cheesy combos into like the piston punch up, the one goes that can kill Olimar very easily. Like floaty characters die to Mii Brawler, it's really dumb, and Olimar is a floaty character, so you will get hit by like a aerial or grab, up air, up B, and it will do a lot of damage if not kill you, especially with platforms around. And that cheese is enough to make the matchup winning. Otherwise, it's a worse version of Fox, so it'd be fine. Alright, Pyra Mithra. I mean, this character is just overtuned. Like, this is one of those matchups that Olimar actually handles fine otherwise. Because Mithra isn't great at applying continuous pressure on blocks. She's more of a whiff punish based character. And I think Olimar's fine with that because of Pikmin toss. But the problem is you can use a Pikmin toss to what's called Foresight, and that's really dumb. Nair, just really all of her buttons are just too big, fast, and safe. They kind of just outclass Olimar's buttons. And as a result, he can't punish them even with Pikmin toss latched. Pikmin get killed kind of easily. and your only real save grace in the matchup is like Yellow Pikmin is really good. Yellow Pikmin is good in every matchup, but especially in this matchup, I feel like you need Yellow Pikmin to contest her aerial ranges when she's Mithra. When she's Pyro, it's whatever. But she's going to use Pyro if she's smart when you're in disadvantage. And then Pyro in advantage state is just cheese. Down tilt up air is dumb. Fair, bear, nair, you name it. It's just... Alright, Rob. Big deal in this matchup. Laser goes through Pikmin. So, you can't be doing bad Pikmin tosses. Gyro also blocks Pikmin consistently. So, like, where normally Olimar uses Pikmin to kind of counter the item, in this case, the Gyro counts the Pikmin toss. So Rob can sit back shooting lasers, get a Gyro out, move forward, and again you're faced with safe nair and very safe tilts. And Olimar's Port out show game doesn't give him a way around that. So, like, Olimar can still contest Rob because Rob is a big target, and his hitboxes don't cover him particularly well, except nair, which is slow, so Olimar can challenge that. But really, like, it comes to down to a lot of times, like, getting really well timed and spaced aerials, parries, and like Pikmin tossing between his projectiles and around them, and not getting hit by like down tilt into infinite mix, and that can be rough. All right, Shulk. Olimar just doesn't have a way around Shulk's aerial range. Like, it's literally that simple. It's been very simple since day one. You basically, as Olimar, have to parry stuff. You have to like get in his face and hit him first. You have to constantly play the mix-up game with like, oh, can I swing? Or are you gonna like shield an up B? Should I grab you? Oh, and then you use, freaking shield mode. It's stupid. And then back at mid-range. Oh, and especially off stage, Shulk's edge guarding is so good for Olimar. The up B is so free. So is the fairs, nairs. He just can't deal with a character that outranges him that hard, and has burst mobility if he wants it. Speaking of burst mobility, Sonic, and it's kind of like Fox, where you can't really hit Sonic unless the Sonic wants to fight. So there's that, and then there's no good answer for Spin Dash because Olimar's so slow he can't like block Spin Dash and chase. So Sonic gets the Spin Dash and basically move freely way too easily. Homing attack is an easy edge guard on Olimar, along with just run off fair. And yeah, I feel like with Olimar, you're just kind of hoping to get enough Pikmin latch damage and call out Spin Dash with like a well-timed forward smash, like before it hits your shield, and kind of take these risks of like, I'm just gonna call it out for something without messing up too much. Luckily, Pikmin toss and Olimar's range forces Sonic into approaches that are a little bit linear, and a lot of times he gets more hits, more so for mistakes than like the character's consistency in the kit. But like you're hitting him with like tiny bits of damage relative to what he's gonna get if he hits you. And then Steve. So some Steve players think Steve loses, and I think they're bad, the character, if they say that. Okay, that's not necessarily true. I know good Steve sometimes think he loses to Olimar, but Steve does what Olimar does, but better. I think the only thing is, like, whereas Olimar gets, like, very quick power spikes with purples and whites, Steve needs a bit more time to ramp up to his power spike with Diamond. But Olimar is too slow, that's all it is. He has the range, he has the frame data, the damage output, edge guarding, everything. You can kill walls, chase, apply pressure, out camp, but he isn't able to stop Steve from getting Diamond, really. So every match for Steve, they know what they're doing. They're gonna get a Diamond, and you have to fight Diamond Steve. And I think that is enough to make the matchup losing, and was otherwise an even or even winning like matchup everywhere else. Wolf, this is almost -2. Wolf jumping is just too hard to deal with. Like, luckily because he's forced to jump to get openings, you can deal with laser by just respecting it a bit, throwing Pikmin at the right times. He lacks hitbox ranges, like, well, he lacks disjoints really. So like, that's fine. His approaches are kind of linear as a result. You can ledge trap him, set up edge guards that way. But man, you have to call his jumps with really good ground movement to bait him out, or do like aerials, and both of those are really committal. So if you like commit poorly, he's gonna hit you and do a lot of damage. Whereas hit Wolf like an up air, it might not do much. Hit him with like, a whiff punish like Pikmin toss or down tilt, it's not much. And it's just so easy for you to like slightly miss space or him to outspace you there, and him to get a lot of damage. Alright, Zelda. This is one of those matchups that character's not great. Zelda's not a great character, but her kit's so good versus Olimar. Knight is so good at dealing with Pikmin Toss. Neutral B so good at dealing with Pikmin Toss. Neutral B also counters smash attacks, reflects them actually. And as a result, you're kind of locked into a lot more tilt scenarios than you'd like as Olimar. Also, up she open like punish, close range up smash. Knight ledge shopping is so good, and Olimar can't really get past Knight. Really, in general, like she really punishes Olimar's lack of speed and his reliance on reflectable moves that aren't the safest. And finally, we got -2. The only -2 in my opinion, Cloud. There are some harder matchups in these -1s, and some easier ones, sure. But Cloud, bro, if he wants to limit camp, you just turn the game off. It's not worth it. Like, even with well-timed parries versus stuff you're not getting punishes, he's able to, like, just fucking swing with aerials, and they will kill Pikmin easily. And I think he gets limit off killing Pikmin too, which is dumb. And if I can just go platform camp, get a limit. And because he can consistently just get limit by platform camping and then fight you with limit, where he's boxed, Shulk had a broken baby, like, Olimar can't hit him, can't take good trades versus him. Gets out range, gets out mobility, gets out damage, out kill powered, and then Olimar isn't really he can edge guard and go off stage and fair, but he isn't specialized there. So he's not really able to exploit Cloud's recovery well enough. He has to kind of commit to like jumping earlier down air or like reading an air dodge with down tilt. So have to kind of make these guesses that can get reversaled means he can't exploit the one part of fighting Cloud you need to be able to exploit, which is recovery. So yeah, with this said, it's a pretty bad character right here, you know? Look at all these losing matchups he has. Yeah, hope you guys found whatever information you're looking for in every matchup with Olimar. Catch y'all later.